Have you ever had a season where you feel like you are just spinning your wheels? You're going and going and going all day long, every day, but you never seem to get anything done. Your life feels like chaos. Your house looks chaotic. Everything just feels out of sorts. And maybe you look at other moms and you think, how on earth is she so productive? She's getting all these things done, especially now with social media, because we can see people's lives, or at least what they choose to show us of their lives, right? Or maybe you even look at yourself in a different season of life and say, like, how was I so productive then and I am getting absolutely nothing done now? Well, I've been in both of those positions where I've had more and less productive seasons, and I've also looked at other moms and been like, how is she doing it? Maybe this is all fake. Maybe she's not actually that productive, because in the season I'm in now, I can't get anything done, and I don't see how anybody could be super productive and pleased with the flow of their home. So today we're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about 5 points to consider when you think about productivity in the home, if you need a productivity boost. And the 5 points are presence, health, stress, strategy and systems, and authority. So let me break those down and spend just a few minutes on each, giving you practical tips, things that I have learned, and some things that I'm still working on and figuring out in my own life. So the first point is presence. In order to be productive at home, if you want a productive household, a bustling home that just feels well ordered and you're so satisfied at the end of every day, you actually have to be present in the home. I know this seems like a no-brainer, but I'm opening with this point for a reason, because I think that like a lot of times maybe moms have like everything else in place but this one thing, and they can't figure out why they aren't getting as much done in the home as they would like. And it's because they're not at home very much at all. Have you ever felt like you were crazy? Well, maybe you are, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're not crazy, but maybe your gut is just in crazy bad shape because it really needs to be reseeded with crucial bacterial strains that are really important for all of our bodily functions, the thousands and millions of bodily functions that happen inside of each of our bodies every single day. Seeds DSO1 Daily Synbiotic. This is a 24 strain broad spectrum probiotic with prebiotic fiber. So let me explain how it works. I started using Seed, by the way, after my 5th baby. I needed something easy and something that was not just like some haphazard collection of bacterial strains, because by the way, a lot of probiotics on the market, that's what they are. They're just kind of random collections of bacterial strains, when actually you need to be really, really specific when you are looking to reseed your microbiome. And another thing is that a lot of probiotics don't survive digestion because of bile salts and stomach acid. So, the idea is that the probiotics would make it into your intestines and into your colon, where they could work at repopulating and reseeding things, but if they don't make it there, then, that's not serving its purpose. So what I love about Seed is that they have been incredibly intentional in formulating their blend of probiotic strains, so you can actually see the names of every strain of bacteria on the package, and this is a refill. So since I've been taking Seed for quite a while now, I just get little refills every month. When I first got my Seed probiotics, they came in this dark case that keeps them protected from the light. It came with a little travel case as well, but now I just get these compostable refills, which it's always nice when you see companies trying to cut down on waste. Also, their capsule inside of a capsule system, waiting for the rooster to stop crowing. The capsule inside of a capsule system, it's called ViaCap, allows for the probiotic to actually reach your colon. It actually survives digestion. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So inside of this outer capsule is prebiotic fiber. And if I open it up, and that's the food for probiotics, we know that, right? Probiotics need prebiotics to work. So inside of this outer capsule, you just see prebiotic, fiber powder here, but I dump that out. There's another little capsule, and this is the probiotic capsule. So they've actually done research on this and confirmed that it does survive digestion. It reaches the colon, where it can work its magic in reseeding your microbiome. 92% of people have recommended it to friends or family. And I am here recommending it to you as well if you've been looking for a really good probiotic. You can use my code HOPEWELL25 to get 25% off your Seed DSO1 Daily Synbiotic order. Just click my link in the description of the video and enter my code HOPEWELL25. I will put my link, my code, and all the details below the video. Tap the more button just below the screen and check it out. And this can even be true. This isn't just for working moms where you maybe have to be out of the home for a portion of the day, but this can be especially true for stay-at-home moms. I've experienced both because I've been both. I've been a working mom and a stay-at-home mom. And when I was a working mom, I mean, that's obvious, right? I did 12-hour shifts. So that's 12 hours a day, multiple times a week, where I'm not physically present in the home. And that's not including my commute to and from work, getting the kids, dropped off and picked up from daycare, and then other outside obligations. So that has like obvious barriers to being productive in the home. When you're not there, you just can't get things done. You can do your best to plan ahead and put systems in place for when you're not present, but that is a huge handicap. If you're looking at other moms who maybe are present in the home all day and they do make 3 meals a day from scratch, or they do this or that or whatever, and you're comparing yourself, but you're not able to be present because of a job, well, then you need to not be comparing yourself and maybe just adjust your expectations. But also for stay-at-home moms, this is a huge trap that I fell into in my early days of being a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom so bad after, trying to juggle the career and kid thing. And then when it happened for me, I found myself just as busy as I was before. And here's why. We live in a day and age of cars. We can drive places in like a relatively short amount of time. And there's so many things to do. Great things. I would take my kids to the story time, like talk time at the library, all these activities. We were constantly on the go. I was going to the gym and working out every day. So even though I wasn't working, my physical presence in the home, I was still gone a lot. And so I was wondering, why is my house a mess? Why am I not getting anything done? Why does this not feel like the image I had built up where everything was going to be a lot more well-ordered and less stressful? It's because I was still spending a lot of time running around town doing other things. And it's not even necessarily, like I said, that those are bad things. They just weren't serving our vision for how it would look with me as a stay-at-home mom. So that is something that you really have to think about. Number 2 is your health. This is something I talk about so much on this channel because it's foundational. You can be present at home all the time, and maybe you have a lot of knowledge. You've looked up all these systems and printed chore charts, and you've done all these things, structured your days in such a way that your home, on paper, theoretically, should be running like a well-oiled machine. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, there's no excuse why my home is not running pretty smoothly on a day-to-day basis, but yet here I am every day spinning my wheels, feeling like I just can't get anything done. And a lot of times I think it's because we're in poor health, which for obvious reasons can make everyday tasks and planning and implementation feel like these massive, huge efforts. And we end up crashing and burning midday if we even make it that far. Sometimes we just get out of bed not feeling great. So, I'm not going to go into depth on how to be healthy in this video, but just you guys know the big things like monitoring our weight, our body composition, our diet, waist to hip ratio. I'm going to get specific here. These are kind of things that can they're easy measurements to do that can give us a really good idea of our overall health. So for women, our waist to hip ratio should be less than 0.8 if we want to be in a low risk for chronic conditions category. And I can tell you, I'm not there right now. I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm in pretty good health, but my waist measurement is 32.5 inches. My hips is 40. So how you calculate that is just measure your waist, measure your hips, divide the waist measurement by the hip measurement, that should be less than 0.8. Mine is 0.81. That puts me in a moderate risk category. And that goes back to something I mentioned, which is body composition. Even if you feel like your weight is in a really good range and maybe your diet is pretty good, maybe your body composition needs some work. You need to build up muscle. Muscle is your friend. And that's the boat that I'm in right now. I know what I need to do. I need to be lifting weights 3 to 5 times a week. I need to be getting 10,000 steps in every single day. I need to be stretching. Right now, I'm finding it really hard to get those 3 to 5 days of strength training in. So I just need to do it. I need to do it because my weight is pretty good, but body composition wise, I need to put the work in. And I know that by doing that, I will feel so much better, so much more focused, so much more energetic. And I know that because I've done it before. I am not that kind of person who can just like effortlessly maintain the same body throughout all the seasons of life. Like I've had to work to be healthy and work to be fit for all of my adult life, and I have done it. I've been really, really fit at times and then really out of shape at other times, and I know exactly how that affects my productivity level, what I can get done on a day-to-day basis, how I feel about that, my mood, my energy, and everything. And I know that when I am more toned and my weight is in a healthy range, I am so much more productive in the home. I mean, that makes sense, right? I'm not lugging around extra body fat and I have extra muscle to help me do what I need to do. So making sure that we are healthy is so important when it comes to productivity. And I can't move on to the next step without talking about hormone health, which actually the next thing we're going to talk about is stress. And that ties into hormone health. But if you are out of balance hormonally, then even if you are eating a really healthy diet and you're exercising, you might not be getting results. You can still feel like you're spinning your wheels. And I know I'm the type of person who I want to get to the root of everything by just looking at my diet and stuff. So if I see that I have hormonal imbalance, I just want to change something in my diet to try to fix that and get to the root cause. But I can tell you things like herbal support and other natural remedies for balancing hormones. I mean, that has truly been a game changer for me. And some of my favorites are Vitex, red clover, and wild yam. So those are just things that you guys can go look into. Vitex, red clover, wild yam. All of these are very powerful herbs for regulating female sex hormones, which in turn can then make all of our other health efforts, like eating a really healthy diet and getting exercise, it can make those things start to actually work and produce results. And if you look into, herbal remedies for hormonal balance, just keep in mind that these are long-term fixes. Unlike pharmaceuticals where, you get like a really quick, immediate result, with herbs, you usually have to be on them for 60 to 90 days consistently to start to see results. So just look into it. If you decide that's something that you want to try, stick with it. Don't give up after a week if you don't automatically feel better. So let's go into point number 3, which is stress. One reason why you might not be productive in the home is that you're under a massive amount of stress and it is paralyzing you mentally and physically. So let me kind of break this down. I think we've all heard that stress is not good for us. We know that by now, right? Like stress can make you infertile, stress can make you sick and all these things. But when it comes to women and when it comes to moms, how does that work? One way that works is cholesterol. So this goes back to hormones, like we were talking about. Our sex hormones, which keeping those balanced is so important for health and productivity. Our sex hormones are synthesized from cholesterol. But another thing that is synthesized from cholesterol in the body is cortisol. So if we are constantly under stress and our body is producing cortisol as a response to that, our body is using our cholesterol to produce that cortisol. And that's less cholesterol that is available to produce proper amount of sex hormones. So there's a little competition there. So that's why very often when we are under chronic or acute stress, we have changes in our cycle and maybe we become infertile for a time because our body literally doesn't have the fuel to make those sex hormones. But it's affects more than just fertility. It affects our general health. So stress has got to go. If you are not productive in the home, write down everything that is on your mind and on your plate every day. The good, the bad, the ugly, and go through and pick out the major stress points for you and see what you can do to alleviate those things. Stressful people, stressful situations, stressful events. Maybe you've got a jam-packed schedule because, like I did in my earlier motherhood years, I would just like saying yes to everything, and these were great things, but it was stressing me and my family and my home out. So just identify those stressful things, see what you can cut out. And when you're doing this, like, don't think too hard about it, because your first obligation is to take care of yourself so that you can be healthy enough to serve your family. We all know that as moms, we should be serving our family, right? Well, we can't do that if we have chronic brain fog, chronic fatigue, chronic weakness and lethargy, and really, bad mood swings, or just whatever you have going on, like really low libido. It's very difficult to show up as the wife and mom that you want to be and serve your family in beautiful ways if you literally do not have the energy that it takes, because your body is, robbing Peter to pay Paul because of stress and the stress response within the body. So when you're thinking about cutting stressful situations out, don't factor in your emotions and guilt. Just remember, you got to take care of yourself and put your family first. Okay, next on the list is something that I feel like moms are actually really good at, and it's systems and schedules. I feel like all of us who have maybe had these moments where we realize we need some help with productivity at home, we've tried the chore charts, we've tried the planners, multiple different planners, we've tried all the systems and scheduling things. And if they're not working, it's actually usually one of those first three things. It's that we're under too much stress that's affecting our health, and maybe we're just not present in the home enough to make those things work. So that's why I put those things first. But sometimes it really is just an issue of getting organized. And there are so many tools out there. Something for me that I really, really like is time blocking, because it allows me to be organized and, semi-structured and have really nice rhythms that I can relax into without being, so structured that it's like militaristic, because that's also not how women tend to thrive, by feeling really boxed in, by having everything scheduled down to the minute. Especially if you have children, you do need some level of flexibility. So how time blocking works is you basically, pick a few areas of your life that are non-negotiables every day, and you put them into time blocks and then arrange those blocks accordingly. So I like to do like a 5-block system. And so every day will start and end with my self-care. And no, I don't mean like going and getting $100 massages or whatever, but if you can do that, more power to you. I'm kind of jealous. I just mean basic hygiene things that often get overlooked for moms, but that can really make a difference, like dental care, flossing, and like oil pulling and all those crunchy things. Oral health, by the way, I should have put that in the health category. Your oral microbiome is so important for your gut health. So if you're having gut health issues and you're addressing your diet, but you're not addressing your oral microbiome, that's probably the problem, because our GI tract starts with the mouth, right? Flossing is more important than brushing, by the way. I'm not saying don't brush your teeth, I'm saying floss your teeth every day. But anyway, those hygiene things for moms are so, so important, and they just get missed. I mean, you guys know how it is. It's very easy to like just not brush your teeth, not shower, not get dressed, and before you know it, you've been wearing the same dirty pajamas for 4 days, you haven't brushed your teeth, haven't showered, and things are just not looking great. And nobody is productive in that state. There, like, not like we need research to show us these things, but there have actually been studies on this. When you set aside time, and I'm saying these time blocks for self-care can be 10 minutes, even 5 minutes. Just in the morning, get up, get dressed into something that's not your pajamas, brush your hair, do your dental care, maybe a little skincare, put a little makeup on, whatever you need to do. Something I do every morning is 100 jumping jacks and like 20 air squats and, like 10 to 15 push-ups. It takes maybe 2 to 3 minutes, but I know if nothing else, if I don't get to go on a walk, if I don't get to exercise, at least I move my body. I've gotten my blood and lymph flowing a little bit, and I'm better off than probably like 80% of Americans. And you know, I just feel accomplished and I feel a little bit better. So I can do all those things. I can get dressed, do some hygiene stuff, do my mini little bitty exercise routine in under 10 minutes. And this really does set the tone for the day. But if you have longer than 10 minutes for that block, take it for yourself. Pray, read scripture, do whatever it is that you do to meditate on God and on higher spiritual things, because spiritual health obviously is the most important thing. And then maybe take the rest of that time to do a longer workout if you have the option to do that. Go outside, get some fresh air and some natural light, make your coffee, just develop a really nice, relaxing morning ritual for yourself to get ready to then go into the next time block. So this is time block number 2 for me, which is serving my family. And this is going to look different depending on what season of life you're in. If you have all little kids, that can be pretty unstructured because they play a lot. It's like story time. You can go on walks, go to the park, just do whatever. But that next block that you move into, of course, is going to be like making them breakfast and just taking care of your family. And what you have to do is you have to protect these blocks and not let them bleed over into each other. So in this second block, what you're not doing is making phone calls for, I don't know, like insurance and paying bills and sitting down and going through paperwork or doing like labor intensive things that are focused outward or focused toward other like home economy type things. You're just focused on family care. Okay, so now after block number 1 and 2, and for me in my stage, I have older kids, this second block is when we homeschool. This is our homeschooling time. This is not my filming a video time. This is not my blogging time. This is not my any time aside from homeschooling. So I've gotten up in the morning, I've taken care of myself, now I've made breakfast, and now I'm homeschooling my kids and then doing whatever I need to do to take care of the little guys in between there. And that time is protected and honored for what it's supposed to be for. Then my third block is my work time for things that I want to work on in and around my home. And that does include my blog, my YouTube channel, and anything like that. On any given day, it could be different. It could be that I just want to go through and organize my kids' closets. It could be that I want to work on a blog post, just other things that I'm not directly, pouring into my family at that moment. I'm doing something that I want to get done. It's my work time tasks on my to-do list that I will feel better if I get done. That's that third block. And once again, that block is protected for that time, but yet it's flexible. I don't have like, 12:15, I'm gonna do this, then 12:30, I'm gonna do this. I just have a general list of things I'm gonna do in that block. Then we go to block number 4, which is another family block where I'm pouring into my family by feeding them dinner, by doing our bedtime routines, or just spending time together in the evening, going to ball games, going to their activities, reading stories. My work block is over. So I wrap that up when that time block is over. Now I am back with my family, kind of winding the day down by pouring into them. And then the last block is another me block where I gotta get ready for bed. Gotta brush my teeth again. Gotta do like basic things, like put some pajamas on and not go to bed in my jeans or something. Just these basic things to wind down, to take care of myself, take my supplements, do the things that I need to do to get a good night's sleep and, start the next day fresh. And that could even look like prepping the kitchen by shutting everything down or just getting everything in order for the next day so that I will feel better when I start that next day. And then part of my personal, me time block, I'm a married woman, it is time with my husband. So that means our kids have a bedtime and, I get to take care of what I need to take care of to get myself ready for bed. And then he and I are going to spend time together, and I don't work during that time block, ever. That goes back up in that third time block. Okay, so this was kind of a long explanation, but this is so important because I think this could be helpful for other women. This time blocking, it's really easy. It's not even necessarily something you have to write down. It's something you could easily keep track of in your head to protect different areas of your life and feel productive within certain times of the day. It helps you to cultivate rhythms and routines that your body can relax into. And that actually does affect health because when your body knows what to expect every day, it lowers your stress levels. When you have this massive to-do list of things, and on that to-do list, you're combining self-care, taking care of your kids, homeschooling, homemaking, taking care of the home, making meals, maybe getting some projects done. That all is like spaghetti and it just kind of jumbles together. You feel overwhelmed, and before you know it, you just say, well, forget it. There's no way I could get all this done, so you're just paralyzed. Whereas if you can put all of these to-do lists in like totes, right? Imagine like storage totes. And I've got 5 of them for my personal time blocking. And I know that every day I'm going to have a dedicated time to get to this little list of, categorized items. I can relax into that. I'm not sitting around in the morning stressed about the organizational project I want to do because I know that that's going to happen later. Or I'm not, in the evening thinking about homeschool because that went in the earlier time block. Okay, so that's time blocking. But there's so many different strategies and systems. You just need to find something that works for you, that's easy for you to maintain, allows you flexibility and freedom while still keeping some rhythm and structure, and do it. You got to do it. So moving into the 5th and final point is authority. Stepping into authority in your home. So often I think we can get into this like employee mindset where we are running around like we are just begrudgingly doing all these tasks, forgetting that we have actually been, as women and wives, set over the home as the household manager. Yet, we're running around like a laborer or like a servant, but we are actually the home manager. And that, of course, looks like serving in many instances and seasons, especially if you only have little kids. You are doing the bulk of the work because they're just not capable of really helping out. But as time goes on, you kind of move from being the one who's doing all of the work to moving into a mentor position where you are taking the little ones along and you're training and teaching them how to help around the home. And then when they start to become big kids, then you move into more like a manager where you are still having to teach, having to remind, having to direct a lot of the workflow in the home. And then there are still things that you're doing hands-on too, and you're putting your hand to that are maybe your primary task. But then eventually you have teenagers to where you move into more of like a supervisor role. So you're doing a lot of everything. You're still working, you're training little ones, but the big ones, they've been trained, and you can fully delegate tasks to them and give them authority over these tasks to where you're just checking in, you're just supervising. So things do get easier in that way, but in order for them to get easier and for you to get to that point, you have to actually step in to your authoritative role in the home. You have to own that role, not feel bad about it, not feel like guilty about it, and not play the martyr. You just have to, lovingly and kindly, but yet authoritatively take charge. Take charge. Make a plan, delegate, follow up, train, teach, admonish, do all the things that we know as Christian women we should be doing, and don't feel bad about it. I know I already said that, but that's what we do, right? We feel guilty when we ask for help or when we give our kids chores, but we shouldn't, because we're actually blessing them by giving them work to do. We're giving them purpose, we're giving them accountability, and we're giving them opportunities to serve as well. Jesus said that those among us who are last will be first, and those who serve will be the greatest. But if we do everything for our family, we're robbing them of the responsibility to serve. We're robbing them of the ability to grow in, that heart posture of serving those around us. All right, well, those are my 5 points. I hope you found something today that was helpful. I will put those points in the description of the video and maybe just some of the notes that I took when I was thinking about doing this video. So if you want to tap the more button and check it out. And also, we're not gatekeepers here. I do not know all of the tips and tricks and secrets and have like all of the wisdom. I just have, my limited experience. So if you have something to share, please, by all means, share it, whether it's just a comment or advice or your own personal experience. We would love to hear it, so leave a comment. All right, I'll see you guys next week.